Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ontario Association of Residence Councils, the Benefits of OARC Membership webinar. Before we get started, we'd like to introduce you to your speakers today. Today we have three presenters who will share the next 35-40 minutes with you. Go ahead, Sharon.
Hello, my name is Sharon Cook. I'm president of OARC, Ontario Association of Resident Councils. I'm also president of my home, Newmarket Health Centre, and I'm very pleased and excited to venture on this new journey for long-term care. We're finally getting across Ontario and be able to get across to every home in Ontario. Thank you.
Sue?
Hi everyone, my role at OARC is Education and Home Support. I've worked in long-term care homes for over 30 years. One of the hats I wore was Assistant to the Residence Council. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today.
Thanks, Sue. And I'm Dee Lender, the Executive Director of OARC. I have enjoyed over 25 years of working in the long-term care sector in various capacities. One of which was indeed the Assistant to Residence Councils for a number of years. I'm honored to be the Executive Director of OARC now, and I'm excited to work together in ensuring that residents' voices through their residence councils in their individual homes shape this new era of living and working in long-term care. So let's get started. OARC has a mission, a vision, a value statement, and a mandate. OARC is mandated and funded to provide education and support to long-term care homes across Ontario. We provide education and support for all homes residence councils. Membership dollars help us do more, help us to cover more ground, help us to develop more resources, and help us to utilize more technology. We are a 34-year-old not-for-profit association. In essence, we are like the conduit, if you will, between the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care and long-term care home residence councils. We aim to be the collective voice via a unified network. So when the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care or stakeholders or researchers or other parties within the long-term care community or outside of the long-term care community are interested in knowing about residents' issues, residents' council issues, hearing from residents who live in long-term care homes, they often turn to OARC. Bottom line, we are responsible for assisting in the formation, sustainability, and effectiveness of residence councils in Ontario's long-term care homes. Our value statement, which you see on the screen now, was developed by residents. So you can see there that OARC believes that respect is core to quality of living and that residence councils provide opportunities for residents to explore and promote relationships, education, self-determination, positive mutual support, environments which feel like home, collective voices, and ties with the community. And as I just mentioned, this value statement was developed and written by residents living in long-term care homes. I'd like to share with you this photo. This is a current photo of OARC's Board of Directors. When I said that the value statement was written by residents living in long-term care, this is what I'm referring to. Our mission, our vision, our value statements were developed and written by our Board of Directors. We are governed by this Board of Directors. Every single person, aside from staff, live in long-term care homes full-time. It's a working board. It's part of the work that the board provides is governance to the organization and guidance to staff. We have capacity for 10 board members, and we are committed to building a board that's diverse in culture, background, skill set, age, to best serve the over 76,000 residents who live in long-term care homes today. We are in a perpetual state of board recruitment. So give some thought through this webinar, and as we develop our relationships together, give some thought to whether you'd be interested in having a conversation with an OARC staff person to investigate what's involved in becoming and being a board member for OARC. As a board member, it's an exciting opportunity to learn and share, contribute, and be heard. Make a real difference. We present together, staff and board members, at conferences, individual residents' councils across Ontario, regional meetings, colleges, universities, providing expert advice and consultation on many Ministry of Health and long-term care tables. So we meet together 4 times a year physically face-to-face, but we have at least one teleconference every single month, again, to bring us all together to ensure that the business of OARC, what we do day in and day out, best represents what residents in long-term care feel is important in strengthening their own residents' councils. So I'd like to invite Sharon to comment on the value of being an OARC board member. Sharon, over to you.
Hello. Yes, as a board member, I have impact at a provincial level. Working on a provincial level, sharing education and knowledge with other resident councils, I can make a difference in my own home and for others across Ontario, making better life for all residents. I like the teamwork. It is vibrant and feels good. And as a disabled person and a senior, to be able to help others means a lot. Working with the board is special. We are all in the same situation. I like to network with the board members to find out what is working well and what isn't, and be able to share this with our homes. OARC gives us the opportunity to work outside our home and work with other residents. Being able to have a voice with the Ministry of Health of Long-Term Care is so important.
And you can see, thank you Sharon, you can see from this photo that the ages of our board members are quite diverse. We have members who are in their 40s, and we have directors who are advanced in their age, right up into their late 80s, early 90s. So why should you consider joining OARC in membership? There are over 600 long-term care homes in Ontario. Currently, just over 400 long-term care home residents' councils are members of OARC. OARC supports homes, residents' councils, staff, residents, assistants within the home by telephone, webinar, and in person. We create tools that are tested by residents' councils across Ontario and then provide support and education in utilizing those tools to try to ensure that the residents' councils are the best that they can be, taking baby steps. Through surveys and feedback, OARC is able to share residents' opinions to the Ministry of Health, including the Performance Improvement and Compliance branch that looks after the inspections, researchers, universities, colleges, and many, many other relevant stakeholders. Member residents' councils receive newsletters. Our newsletters are called Seasons, and we also have another document called OARC in Action. This is where valuable information is shared. The more membership residents' councils we have, bottom line, the greater our ability to speak with confidence at stakeholder tables and truly represent the collective voice of residents in long-term care homes. Residents who are part of their leadership team with OARC have the opportunity to pursue board membership with OARC, which Sharon spoke to so eloquently just a moment ago. Now, I mentioned that part of our mandate is to provide direct support to residents' councils in Ontario. Currently, as Susan said, she leads the home support and education efforts of OARC. Susan, will you please explain a little bit more about what you do?
Thank you. Well, as part of the OARC team, I work directly with the residents, councils, and staff assistants in the long-term care homes throughout Ontario. As resources allow, I make visits to long-term care homes and meet the residents and staff face-to-face. Otherwise, I connect with the residents, councils, and staff assistants via telephone, email, teleconference, webinar, and go-to-meetings. There are still some residents who prefer using snail mail, and that works just fine for us too. Often I'm asked about the legislation regarding the duties, powers, and scope of influence of residents' councils. I've had many opportunities to support the staff assistants, some who are brand new in the role, and others who have lots of experience already. I share the tools that OARC has developed and provide support and assistance to the residents' councils as they move forward in their work towards effectiveness and sustainability. Other support has included the transitioning from a traditional leadership style to a leadership team model. I thoroughly enjoy the opportunity to work so closely with individual resident councils, their assistants, and their long-term care home. Strong relationships have been built between us. Staff and residents have a heightened sense of confidence, knowing that assistance and support is always available. Membership to OARC is vital to keep these relationships strong and lasting. When you contact OARC, we strive to answer your questions thoroughly and in a timely manner. We follow up to ensure satisfaction and appreciate any feedback or evaluations received. So I'll send it back to you, Dee.
Thanks, Sue. As mentioned earlier, OARC has the privilege to carry residents' opinions forward to various venues. Board members sit on many committees, and again, as a member residents' council, residents in the leadership role of the council have the opportunity to pursue board membership with OARC. Board members sit on many committees and share their lived experience and the residents' council's opinions directly, person to person. There are a number of committees that OARC belongs to, involved with the Ontario Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. There's one committee that's called the Enhanced Strategy Design Variance Committee, and what this committee does is it looks into the physical structure of long-term care homes, so we're able to provide advice on specifically what is important to the physical structure of a long-term care home from a resident's perspective. We sit on advisories and working tables with members of the Long-Term Care Quality Improvement Program, meeting with inspectors and owners and lawyers and doctors and other residents to really work together to develop policies and provide advice as to what is really important, again, from a resident's perspective. We're involved with a group called the Change Foundation. The Change Foundation is currently studying the effectiveness of residents' councils and family councils in long-term care homes. We've worked with Behavioral Supports Ontario. We have many, many opportunities to work with Health Quality Ontario as well, again, to always infuse that personal aspect of the residents' lived experience. Because let's face it, we can all work very, very, very hard, but if it's not changing and improving the quality of living from a resident's perspective, it really is all in vain. We are part of the Gruyere Center for Learning, Research, and Innovation Steering Committee. So what I've mentioned here doesn't include any research or post-secondary activities that we try to participate in, again, as resources allow. We have the opportunity to teach at George Brown College, for example. Twice now we have spoken, staff and a couple of board members have participated in an activation and gerontology program with over 100 graduating students who very likely, if they work in long-term care, will be involved with Residents' Council. We have had the opportunity to participate in a document called Shifting Focus that was produced by Behavioral Supports Ontario and the Alzheimer's Society to give practical feedback to friends and family who are living with and trying to support people who live with dementia. Our membership dollars contribute significantly to being able to be involved in these types of activities and enables residents to be heard from directly. Every dollar that comes in to support our membership enables us to be present physically more and more often to all of these opportunities. Members also receive, as I mentioned a bit earlier, newsletters. They're called Seasons, and intermittently, when there's another little bit of information or clarification or exciting news, celebration that we would like to share, we send out a document called OARC in Action. That's a one-pager, both sides, and it often has some really important information that we just can't wait to get out to you in the Seasons format, so we send it out in between seasons. Seasons is our tangible teaching and home sharing tool. It goes out to all member residence councils, and within that we have 2 or 3 pages that are specifically designed for home sharing. This is where residence councils have the opportunity to share with each other, to share what's working, what challenges have been overcome, what relationships have supported the effectiveness of residence council. Lots of new ideas are shared directly through this forum. As a member home, you also receive a certificate every year that you renew your membership. Display this proudly. This shows your investment not only in your own residence council, but in the efforts made on your behalf on a provincial level through OARC. When you have tours of families and other community members coming into your home to have a tour, make sure you point out your membership certificate to OARC. And also, if you have an inspector walk into your home for some time, as a residence council, be proud to show the inspector from the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care that you support the function of residence council and you are an active member with OARC. Members contribute. We survey member residence councils, so again, if we're asked for opinions and contributions to help advance research and knowledge sharing, we turn immediately to our residence council members. A practical example is back when the physiotherapy funding model changed a couple of years ago. OARC was intimately involved with the Ministry of Health in communicating those changes, and a board member on our board of directors named Bob, he actually informed a literal change in the definition of physiotherapy that is relevant, accurate, and realistic to the experience of living with a chronic degenerative disease. So his advice and information sharing literally changed the definition of what we now use in long-term care to define physiotherapy. Member homes tell us what they need, and we try very, very hard, again, as resources allow, to meet their needs and inform our education planning. Sharon, you've been leading your residence council in your home now for a few years. Please tell our listeners now about how you came to know of OARC and the value of being supported by OARC.
When I got more aware of OARC, I had already been in long-term care approximately a year. I was asked to be president of our resident council within about 6 months that I came to long-term care. The recreation supervisor was quite impressed on how I could deal with resident council and how the residents were actually falling in line with coming to meetings more often and that. So they thought I could help more through OARC and that I could benefit not only our home, but also throughout the province. It was really nice, and it was a great support from my home. Our home came alive with learning that they had rights and that they could actually exercise those rights. And it was when I joined OARC that we realized what our rights were. We started immediately to be more active in our resident council through the many workshops, developing the resource guide, and attending conferences and networking with others residents in their homes. We have been able to help and educate our residents on the rights and learn ways to participate within our home to help make it a better place for all residents. We have formed our own committees that include welcoming committees, welcoming new residents to our home, food committees to find more choices in our meals, memories from the heart. It's a bereavement session within 48 hours of a resident passing. It helps to be more transparent and allow the residents to do grieving. It's like they're losing a part of their family when you're living in long-term care. And we don't just sit and brood about it. We celebrate the life we had with them, the things we used to do. And it's a good support and helps the grieving process in long-term care. Being open, transparent is so important in long-term care homes. We have learned how to become a team and work together to accomplish our goals. We have a communication committee that has made such a difference in our home. We have open and healthy communication.
Thank you, Sharon, for all those examples of how the support and the knowledge that you've gained through OARC has translated into real tangible programs, committee work, and relationship building within your home that has furthered the strength of your residence council. Sharon, if someone is sitting on the fence about becoming a member of OARC and they're listening to this webinar right now, what would you say to them?
I would say OARC has opened a whole new world for us residents, and we can speak for those with dementia, and has opened a whole new world of education and information sharing for us. This is, to us, is a time in history that residents never had before. When you come into long-term care, you think, that's it, we're done. But it's not. But with OARC, you can get involved and you're able to help someone. It renews your spirit. It makes you feel worth something, that you can actually feel that you can help others.
Thank you, Sharon. It's very powerful. We know that living in long-term care, despite all the best efforts, over half of the residents living in long-term care still live with symptoms or a diagnosis of depression, for example. We work very, very hard together with residents, with staff, with our Ministry of Health and other stakeholders to really inform decisions and opinions that generate, that really work hard to improve the quality of living in long-term care homes. So I'd like to thank you, Sharon and Susan, for sharing with our listeners your involvement with OARC. I'd like to invite those of you who are on the webinar right now, who are listening to this information and watching the slides, to please make note of the contact information on the screen right now. If what you've heard has spurred some question or concern or comment, we would invite you to reach out to OARC. Give us a call, send us an email. We would love to hear from you. And if you're not a member, we would strongly encourage you to consider membership with OARC. All of the information is available through contacting through Jennifer Langston, Client Relations at OARC, and her information is on the screen now. So thank you very much for spending the last 45 minutes with us. We look forward to hearing from you and building these relationships as we work together. Thank you.